No ia e Māori. Happy Rotuma Language Week. I'm your host, Bear, and yes, we are here at the Pacific Business Hub where we are on BluTable Talanoa, and we have two very, very special guests here today with the team to celebrate Rotuma Language Week. We've got 531 hosts Itu and Georgie for the Rotuma Language Show. It's an absolute honour to have you both here today because we need to acknowledge the Rotuma, language. How are you both today? Look, you look busy. You look at everything.
Mine is running away. No, we're very well. I mean, I'm very well, thank you. Trying not to, just slow it down a little bit in terms of what we're doing at the moment, but we're excited. I mean, I'm really excited to be here. And, just an opportunity to sit with you and discuss about Rotuma Language Week.
Yes. Did you want to have a little spiel about yourselves on, for our viewers, or that the introduction was enough?
Probably I'll just do it in Rotuman.
Yeah.
No e mauri tini ngach tutu to ko to asale fisi ite Solomone. Ngo no he Auckland. Mango wafti power ko pola tiang isia ilo ne afiti ma definition ni mo si Pacific Business Hub for Yexia.
Yeah, no e Māori, o to asale choche. O to hunta yo hen ne no tau o inafa I tutiu, and o to fata yo fatwang. So it's very good to be here. Joining you guys on this Blue Wave table.
Thank you. It's a great honour, actually. But I know that the team are rushing out because it's busy, and I understand we've got a strict timeline. So we're gonna get straight into our questions. Itu, I know that the language is very, very important, and I know as Pacific, we don't want it to get lost, and we need it to survive for generations to come. I noticed that the Rotuman language is very, very unique. Can you give us an explanation on how unique your language is? It's actually quite different from all of our Pacifica, the language, the pronunciation. Are you able to help us with that?
Yes, thank you for Yexia. Yes, our language is a little bit different. Everyone says the same thing in terms of, I am not too sure because this is the first time everyone's listening to the language. Maybe in the next 5 years, people are going to say, it's the same as every other Pacific language. But there is elements of uniqueness in terms of the structure of the language. And this is something that, as a fluent speaker and someone who brought up speaking the language, it is quite different to actually study the language in terms of the structure, because I'm not a linguist, nor am I a professional school teacher. However, my work in the language space with Pacific Education Center since 2017 was the first time that I actually had to research the language. What was unique, and I found it really intriguing, similar to how every linguist and researchers across the world who studied the language in terms of the Rotuman language, they found it really interesting on few elements. One is the metathesis in the language, and that is mainly the inversion of the vowels. So we have, 12 in the A's in terms of the pronunciation. Our umlauts in the A's have got, 2 dots on the top. We have a dot underneath the A and a dot on top. So is the O, and it's German umlauts as well. And so the O has got 2 dots, the U has got 2 dots, and so is the A. And so that makes it even unique for our language and the sounds, the phonetics of the language. Now, in terms of the metathesis, and this is where the linguists are so interested in, is the final vowel gets removed or deleted from the word, and then it becomes the consonant ends it. So if you have a very similar is longy, and so you have the dot underneath the A, so it's spelled as L-A with a dot underneath G-I. Now, if you take the final vowel out, which is the I, it ends with a consonant, which is G. However, the dot underneath the A moves to the top. So so that's the inversion of the vowels, and then the elision of the final vowel. And so and our language becomes 2 forms, and which is very unique because everybody else in the Pacific has one form. You just speak it the way it's translated. However, we translated it in long, and there's a lot of them, a lot of linguists who sort of say it's the long form becomes a complete form or structured, and then the short form becomes unstructured or incomplete form. And so that's where the language becomes really interesting. And that's where we look at it in terms of the umlauts in the German, and that's why words like mori becomes mer, and so the two dots goes at the top. So those are just some of the things in terms of that in the language. So there's a lot more interesting. The sounds of the language and the phonetics just has a challenge when it comes to our language as well.
Yeah, I've been listening today, and I felt like it. And even the lead up to Rotuma Language Week, because as you know, Blue Wave are connected with MPP with regards to celebrating the Language Week, and I've been listening to the sounds, and it sounds very exotic, almost like there it does, and I'm like thinking, wow, it's really nice, and you're right. Maybe in time we will get used to yeah, just kind of like how we're so used to talofa lava, and that because now we are making sure that it's important that we celebrate Rotuma. I can't wait that now we don't have to just go talofa lava. It's going to be no ia e Māori, but it does. I've been listening. That exotic sound, is there some similarity with Tahiti, because it's like their language is like connected to France?
Yeah, and I think definitely, I think there's a historic bit to that in terms of the French. And we had French missionaries and Latin. So that's where the incorporation of both Latin, French, European, and then you have, the German, the usage of the language in terms of how it sounds. And it's really interesting because those are all the languages that has historically been part of it prior to all of them coming in. So it does poses the question where we had that original settlement, in terms of the language. Our language is separated into 4 layers, which has got the Polynesian, 2 parts of it comes from Samoa and Tonga. There's loan words and all of that in terms of the Borat language. Then you have a Melanesian, which just links us to Fiji.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Micronesian side, there is those structure. And then you have an Aboriginal structure that just is so unique, and no one in the Pacific has that. So that's the key part is the Aboriginal structure that belongs only to Rotuma, which is very unique.
Yeah, very, very unique indeed. And you have to, if you haven't already, head over to the Ministry of Pacifica people, their site, and hit like and really take the time to listen and appreciate the Rotuma Language Week as we celebrate it this week here in New Zealand. It is very exotic, so you might be able to get away with it over the weekend. But I know Itu is very busy, so I really, really wish that I could ask like 10 million more questions, because I really want to tap into that exotic side of the language. But we're going to go into a break, and then I'm going to hound
this next exotic bean.
This exotic bean with all the Rotuman exotic foods, and you name it. We're going to ask the questions straight after this break.
tātou sosolaia o le asau le lo o matua Papea mai le toe ina e fulu fulu o lona papatua Awe, 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 awe lo lo to ua le moe Talo fia vai, funga ia oe Talo fia fatasi maua i tenu e se Tutu sata ua le pai e le ali E ta ilua va e ta ilua li E ta futa ua ma le lau lau pai va
No ia e Māori. Yes, we are celebrating Rotuma Language Week this week, and it is a very, very special week for our Rotuma community. Today, we do have a very special guest, the host for a 531 show, Georgie, and you take the Rotuma Language show, yes?
Yep, PMN Rotuma.
PMN Rotuma. And so today, the theme for Rotuma language is 4 pillars of well-being: spiritual, physical, mental, and social. And if you haven't got all the information and you want to learn a little bit about the language, head over to MPP on Facebook, and they will have the videos. And the videos were actually done by our team here at Blue Wave. So go over to MPP and hit like, share, comment, and learn the language. Take the time to acknowledge our Rotuma community. For those of you who have only just tuned in, yes, we are here at the Pacific Business Hub, and we'd like to make a massive shout out to Laura. If you need any assistance with the business or any direction, existing or new, head over to the Pacific Business Hub. As you can see behind, we've got all of the banners up. So you pick and choose. And it is BluTable Talanoa, where we get to meet our local heroes, and they get to share their story and hopefully inspire you as well. Today, we are going to talk about the language. So we're going to ask the really hard question. Are you ready? I'm kidding. So, Georgie, how important is the language to you?
It's a very good question. Oh gosh, when you're born here in New Zealand, you only ever know of the, in school English, which is the main common language used here. So having to be brought up here and immersed in that culture and in school, look, it's been challenging. I've been very blessed that the language has been taught through my mother. She'd speak it to us. So I'm fluent in understanding the language. In terms of speaking it, it's still a work in progress. So I'm still learning. But in terms of how important it is, look, I think because our language it was listed on UNESCO's endangered list of of languages that were dying, I think it put this kind of push in our community to learn the language and start encouraging families to use it and adopt it at home. For me, language it's part of your identity. It's a place where you go back to your roots and it's spoken there. So look, I think language is such an important thing, especially to me too.
Hannah, did you have a question for Georgie with regards to language?
No, I'm just wanting to know more, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I'm learning this as well. Like we were speaking earlier, say I've only met one Rotuman person in my entire life of being in New Zealand.
And you know, the fact is, it was only last year that I realised with MPP, it was actually on Ministry of Pacific People, a Facebook page that when they celebrated the Rotuma Language Week, last year was the very first time, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's the very first time I remember that, you know, I was like, oh, wow, Rotuma. And I had to Google, fortunately. But I know that it is a very small island. There, I think it was, last remember, was a 1,600 on the island. And there's actually 5,000 Rotuman people in America. And I think only
Damn, the statistics.
1,500 here in 15,000, sorry, here in New Zealand.
No. Yeah. So
something like
I
that?
think it's just under 1,000. But with the census, and something that I'm still learning is that when you tick the boxes, you know, on the census and stuff, and you share your ethnicity with another. So for myself, I'm half Tongan, so I take Tongan and Rotuman. But because Tongan is the major ethnicity, we in the census it'll fall under Tonga, so it doesn't come under Rotuman. Yeah. Which was weird. So for us, like I had a look at one of the census just recently, and I think it was about 900 or 700 and something Rotumans here in New Zealand. So we're very, very, very small.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, special. I just think that, wow, that is a small number.
How do you
eh?
feel about that?
In terms of the amount of people.
Sorry, it doesn't have to be emotional or anything.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, you know, your language being endangered and also, you know, your people, the population is quite small. And, you know, culture, like you said, is a very important part to you in the language. So how do you feel around these numbers?
Oh, look, you know, it's that whole migration thing, and I think majority of the Rotumans, they all live overseas, you know, away from our home island. You know, I think with those who are here, and you know, there's been a lot of people who have put in so much effort into organising a Rotuman community here in New Zealand about 30 years ago. And since then, I have been lucky and fortunate to have seen the group grow.
Exactly.
And the community grow. And there's so much youth now here in New Zealand. I think the challenging part is that our Rotumans are now starting to diversify, you know, rather than being one culture. They're now sharing their ethnicity with another, such as Tongan, Samoan, European and such. So it becomes more of a challenge, because when we talk about the language, in, you know, that it's dying, we're having to try compete with another, you know, with this new group that's shares their ethnicity with another. Yeah.
And I mean, now you're a new host for 531 PI. So shout out to 531 as well, PMN. And that's your contribution, am I right to say that, to your Rotuma community? How is that going for you, and sorry, congratulations, by the way. And how massive is that, and the impact that you want for your community, Rotuma community?
Oh, look, for our community, first and foremost, the language week was huge for us.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the community had been running their pilot language weeks prior to it being official last year through the Ministry for Pacific Peoples. And then, you know, with that 1 week, it just didn't feel like it was enough.
Yeah.
And so for us, we, you know, the communities have their own initiatives and such. But in order to keep growing the language and our identity and culture, having this platform here at Pacific Media Network, it allowed us to, you know, share our language and culture every week.
Amazing.
Every Saturday. But myself coming in, I'm not well versed in the culture or the language. So that's where Fisa comes in. So she's well versed. I'm coming in as that person who represents those who don't speak it in full, which is the majority of Rotumans. And I'm taking people on a journey with me to learn the language. So this platform, the platform at PMN it's such a huge milestone for our community.
But that is awesome, and again, that's similar to kind of our vision that we want here. We want our Pacifica community to come here and share their stories, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that we disconnect from because a lot of us are born in New Zealand and we don't really know the language. Like myself, I'm still struggling, but this platform has been, again, also contributed to me learning the language, making it important and making sure that I'm now, contributing to, our Samoan community as well. But that's what you're doing as well on your platform.
Yeah, look, and one of my relatives who took part in an interview today, encouraged people because it's something that us who are born outside of the islands, it's hard for us to adopt and learn the language when you get mocked by your own people, you know, and that is something that's huge. And then it
get mocked by your own people.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I think it happens in the whole Pacific Islands. I'm like,
have you met someone?
Oh no. So
oh no, I forgot your tongue.
Okay, I'm claiming my Rotuma. I can't Rotuma. It's Rotuma language week. Oh look, and that's so for me when I heard that today, and it's so true because learning the language and when you get mocked by your own people, it kind of pushes you away, and that's what we don't want to do. In order for our language, for the Rotuman language to survive, you need to support you have to support and encourage our people. Look, I'm going on a show that's global, and I'm having to put my face out there. And look, for me, I don't care. I don't care. I want to make sure that if we can reach someone wherever they are in the world to learn the language, and that goes to all the other people who are viewing today, to all our Pacific languages. Look, learn the language, but learn it for you, not for anyone else.
Amazing.
So that's my message.
Yeah, it's a great message.
Thank you. Gosh, you guys are hyping me up.
Hyping up for your next.
I totally resonate with that because especially, sorry, I don't mean to always bring this back to Samoan, but in Samoan culture, our culture has become kind of like a display. Like people want to sometimes just attach to the nice parts of the culture, the nice dancing and everything. But I guess it brings back your point, learn it for you and not for the showy display of things. And when you learn it for you, it's just a lot better that way because you're learning it for its truth.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's why I think it's a beautiful message. Yeah.
But I love that you were born here, a New Zealand born Rotuman. And and you've embraced the language and now you're celebrating it. And even though you were born here, you haven't allowed that to be a barrier for you to go out there and be like, that's it, everyone, I'm gonna jump on to be a radio host, even though, and you really have showcased that you're gonna do this for you, and you're gonna make sure that you contribute to keeping your language, Rotuma language, alive. So well done, man.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you. Oh, let's high five all around.
High five all around.
I didn't want to feel left out.
Those okay. But you did mention earlier that 1 week isn't enough. We do understand that.
Exactly. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If you were to choose 2 of the most amazing things you love about Rotuma, what would it be? It could be anything about history, about art, something that you guys value. What would it be?
Oh gosh, it would have been better if we left you out. Good question though. Oh look.
I'm so sorry.
Gosh, yeah, you definitely put me on the spot with that.
I know. I was trying to wrap it up for a break, but
I'm so sorry. This is just my one question.
So sorry. Now that I'm getting caught up. Sorry, what was the question again?
So just something that you feel is monumental to Rotuma culture. Like for example, if I was to say Samoa, what's going on right now is the whole elections. Like what's something that Rotuma people are currently talking about? Is there anything or?
Oh gosh, I think this language week is something that's very huge, and especially to all our families that are back in Fiji and Rotuma. Currently, they're all in lockdown because there are some cases. So for them, they're tuning in and watching what's happening here.
Amazing.
And it is the 140th anniversary of Rotuma Day this year, which falls this Thursday.
140th what?
Anniversary for Rotuma Day. So Look, for our people, they probably were preparing for such a big event back home. And yeah, I think that's something that they're probably discussing at the moment. And oh gosh, look, I'm not there on the island, so I can't really speak for
That's
them.
all right, that's
In
all
terms of here in New Zealand, it'll be the Language Week and possibly this new radio platform. And that's what I want to highlight is it's not just about myself and Fesaitu.
Yeah.
It's a community platform.
Yeah.
You know,
Amazing.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great.
So I can't wait.
you.
And I think I will tune in Saturdays. Is that right? Saturday, 5:31. The show.
Yes, yeah, 5:31 on PM in Rotuma, yeah.
Well, there you have it. We have still got time to ask the big questions, and I'm talking about the food. Because, man, I am like thinking, what delicious food can we cook later on in the year when we celebrate Rotuma Language Week again? But stay tuned, everyone. Yes, we will continue with the big, hard questions. Kidding. Straight after the break.
Ra'ota uma arotuma, ra'ota uma.
Maya e Māori, o te wasala Eden. The phrase for today is ngō la serotu, which means in English, I'm going to church.
Welcome back, everyone. It is BluTable Talanoa. If you haven't already, please show us some blue alofa, right? Show us some love. Head over to Blue TV, hit like, share, love, hug. Send us an encouraging message that you would normally get when you go to rotu, which is the word of the day. Rotu is a rotuman for, sorry, did you see how I rolled that? Sorry. Right, back to the exotic. Is rotuma for church. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
With the rolling. And yes, today we do have a very special guest. We have Georgie, host of a new Rotuma show, 5:31 for PMN. What time on Saturday can we tune in?
Yep, so you can tune in on 5:31 PI from midnight to 2 a.m. So yeah, it's the first inception of that show on
Midnight
the
to
platform.
2 a.m..
Midnight to 2 a.m. So we were a bit like, oh gosh, who's going to be listening at that time of the night? We were actually surprised at our launch that many people were tuning in, and also globally. So we had people from Indonesia, Japan, America. So yeah, we still were feeling the love at midnight, while a lot of the youth were like but yeah.
Oh, I love that. But maybe we should just change the music. Imagine that, in the clubs, and you're just like, so we're just going to plug into the show, right? Wait, hold on. We're just going to listen to. But with that, let us know where we can go for any events so that we, as a Pacific community can come through and celebrate with you, because you're not stopping us at the gates, are you?
No,
everyone's welcome, right?
Yeah, of course. It's open to everyone.
Open to everyone.
Yeah. Our Language Week events, you can find that on the Ministries for Pacific Peoples website, but also on New Zealand Rotuman Language Week Facebook page. So there's actually many events. There's one that I'm off to after this.
Soon.
So it's a youth event that's held at the Auckland University, and they're hosting a whara workshop. So whara is like a type of dance. It's a celebration that we normally do during Christmas and New Year's. It possibly goes up to 2 months, and it's almost like carols. So you know how we do the traditional carols from house to house?
Oh, yes.
This is what we do. People are hopping on trucks and buses and whatever, and they travel, but they're not singing. They are dancing. So it's kind of a merge of around the world.
Could we possibly get some moves
No,
from
well, you're definitely not going to get anything from me today dancing. I'm probably going to embarrass our culture and butcher it for them. But yeah, they'll stand and you kind of sit in a circle. There's quite a lot of people, and they'll go out and pick people. You go to a house and you pick them to dance, and it's like around the world, but people actually chuck powder and perfume at each other. Yeah, so they chuck baby powder, and some of this stuff is quite expensive. So, Rotumans must be quite rich to be sharing the love with this baby powder.
Is there a reason behind the baby powder and the perfume? Or
Oh, look, I don't want to butcher it out. If there's any Rotumans watching out, please comment down below. But I think it's a sign of like respect and just a celebration. They even chuck water at each other, and it goes from Christmas right through till the end of Jan.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I did see a photo while I was doing my homework. And I was like thinking, if that's, and I was like, oh, they must have been cooking, but it was just a big mass gathering back home in the island. So, and that was pretty neat. Yeah. And perfume as well.
Perfume too, yeah. They just spray it on you, and the smell and everything. So you don't even have to perfume yourself just to attend the event.
Baby powder and perfume.
That's right.
I love that smell. It's so nice.
So if you own a perfume business, you know where to go tonight.
You can cater to the Rotuman people. Yeah.
I love it. Quite expensive.
Oh,
Must be
it is,
expensive.
yeah. Look, I don't know how they do it. I just join in the festivities. I kind of am the one that's hiding in the back, so no one picks me. A lot of Rotumans will know that and understand that. But look, I plugged in the youth event that's happening at the Auckland University, but we do have the 140th anniversary, which we discussed earlier. And that's happening in Wellington at Te Papa Museum. So they're hosting us down there for the 140th anniversary, as well as an event happening here in Auckland for those who can't make it down. That's held at Pacific Education Centre on Thursday evening. And then during the week on the New Zealand Rotuman Language Facebook page, there's a lot of content that a lot of the community and groups have done. So because of the 4 pillars, you'll see a lot of content on there. And come Saturday, it's the huge celebration, which we're hosting at Lesieli Tonga Auditorium, held in Favona. That's where you'll see the traditional dance, the food.
Oh, I want to come.
Yeah.
I'm going to come.
Yeah, you should
I
come.
seriously
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
You guys should come.
We are.
Yeah, we will.
All of the Blue Wave team will be there.
be coming.
Wait, can I just double check how many?
And do they have Calvin Klein and is it
Oh,
Ralph Lauren?
I'll have to double check. If
Will
our
they be-
community's watching,
Can we
they can
bring-
Will they
comment.
be doing the ceremony? With
They'll
the
be doing traditional ceremonies.
I'd love to
and
see that.
Yeah, just
I'd
the
love to see
mat,
that.
as well as the Minister for Pacific Peoples. I think he'll be in attendance, as well as some
Nice.
special guests. But we also
Nice.
host the first Poa Awards. So the Ministry have introduced a new initiative this year for all the Pacific Language Weeks, where we nominate, we award 3 people in the community. So it's a nice thing that they're doing for our Pacific people to honour and acknowledge them. But also I think it goes towards like governance programs for them, and also towards like order of merits and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. So what's the criteria for those awards?
So it's up to the communities to do it. So
Right,
it's,
yeah.
they can tailor it to their people and their culture. For us, we've got a male, a female, and a youth award. So those will be all done this Saturday at the event.
Oh,
yeah.
wow,
I
can't
really
wait.
love how they've left it up to you guys to decide
Yeah.
on the awards. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Driven by the people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the people.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, you
I
finished
feel
my
like we just
sentence.
Guys,
Sorry, yeah.
so look, I know I promised I wouldn't ask any hard questions, but I know Hannah has asked, with regards to how the government can help with
With initiatives.
initiatives to help,
Sustain the language
Yeah.
and the culture. Yeah.
but also the government. Yes, and I know that the initiative that they've put in place has been great, but is there something that the community, the Pacific community, can do to help?
That's a good question. Like coming back to the government, look, we're very privileged because we've only just joined the Pacific Language Week
Yeah.
series last year, and having that platform with them, I think and I know that they're putting, they're getting more information out there. I think it's the communication part in terms of funding, which is available for our Pacific peoples. And I know there's a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for us as people, we're still trying to learn how to put in funding and what is available. I think the communication needs to be on that part.
Yeah.
And probably helping with resources, which
Yeah.
is very important to our people. And I think that comes to the community part.
Yeah.
For our Pacific communities, I think it's all about that support.
Yeah.
But making sure that they're, whatever resources they can help us with, I think it should be like a Pacific thing
Yeah,
where we all
yeah.
help and support each other. So if Kitty Bass is doing something amazing and it's something that we're not doing, if they can share that knowledge with us as Rotuman people,
yeah,
and
yeah.
anything that we're really, we're doing well in this space that another Pacific community's not. So I think this is where we can look into, looking in the lens of different Pacific cultures and adopting and sharing resources. Yeah.
All right, I love that. So I'll make sure that Hannah and our marketing team get onto that show. But we know that you are. Oh no, the hard questions.
Oh, no.
We're gonna wrap it up. But the biggest question of all, Rotuman dish. The best. I'm not familiar with this, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are wondering.
I literally can't wait for that event.
I know,
That'll
because
be
that's
my
where I'm
first
just
time
going to
eating.
pick
Yeah.
it up. Because I heard, these are something I heard. I saw that there was a dish which they said it was wheke. Wheke is part Tuvaluan,
Yeah.
and it's one of our dishes. And is it exactly the same, the taro, the sugar, and
Yes. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So we have that dessert wheke. It's one of our Rotuman delicacies that you'll normally see
Yeah.
at events and such. But our food, oh gosh, there's quite a few. We're quite similar to the Pacific Islands though.
Yeah.
We have the raw fish, we do
Yeah.
the pig, we do the kumaras and all
Yeah.
that stuff, taro and that. But for us as Rotumans, the wheke, this taroro, which is it's like coconut. So it's coconut which is preserved in that, and then they put it into like a chicken or with pork and that. It's kind of like a soup. The smell is quite funky. Our people will definitely know that. But once you're used to it, it's such a delicious meal. We do have some other desserts such as tiper, and tiper is
what I
like
mean?
banana. Like it's a banana dessert with starch. Yeah, so we have quite a few. I just don't want to butcher it for our people
No.
out there for
That's
my
all right.
community.
We can butcher it on Saturday
yeah.
when we come over and celebrate Rotuma Language Week there at Favona, and all is welcome, right? No?
Yes, I would hope so. We're just finalising because we're just making sure that we have enough to cater for.
Yeah.
But all is welcome.
Did I just invite all the
It is-
Samoans?
Well, hey, look, if you can't make it, it is also live streamed. The
Yes.
events in Wellington as well as in, on Saturday for our closing ceremony.
Yes.
It's all live streamed through you. I think it's through you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Blue. Awesome. No, look, Hannah, did you have any...
No, honestly, I'm going to take heaps of videos when I come on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am so excited to eat all this wonderful food that you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm not hyping it up for our community. You're probably like, Georgie, damn it, now we have to make all these things.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, now we have to make the day for her. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you
Absolutely.
Oh,
here.
it's mine.
Did
Thank
you
you.
have any final encouraging words for our viewers today with regards to language and the Rotuma language?
Oh gosh, look, just to encourage everyone out there to support the Rotuma Language Week.
Yeah.
And you can do that by going on the Ministry for Pacific Peoples website, but also the New Zealand Rotuma Language Week Facebook page, and you'll see all the events there. Look, in terms of our language, all I can say, as our sister Darlene, who mentioned in an earlier interview, was to speak the language and learn it because of you want to do it. Do it for you. So that's what I'll encourage. I think that's my encouragement to everyone today, whether you're Rotuman or not.
Yeah.
If you don't know the language, just if you want to learn it, do it for you. Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing.
Love it. There you have it. We've had our special guest go through a series of panel questions. It wasn't too hard, was it?
No, it wasn't too bad. It was fun.
So we will continue to celebrate Rotuma Language Week this week, and if you haven't already, please head over to the website now, hit like, learn the language because it is very exotic.
I love how you guys say it's exotic.
know.
I'm definitely going to take it to my people and say they're quite exotic people.
Yeah. Well, I had we actually had a few of us. We went to one of the practice there
That's
in
right,
Manirewa, and that was awesome. And the way the pronunciation of the word, very.
Very exciting.
Thank you once again, Georgie, for joining us on BluTable Talanoa, brought to you by the Pacific Business Hub. We're going to go into the phrase of the day, and then we're going to say to Whāsoifua, to Georgie, and then we'll be right back with a few highlights, and I think E.T. wanted me to announce something.
What?
I don't know. I just missed this call. I better ring him.
Okay.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Stay tuned.
Ra'ota uma arotuma. Ra'ota uma.
Noia Maori o Tuasa Kailani Nonu. Our word for today is rotu, which means church.
dance floor. Watch this.
There you have it for your Tuesday afternoon, BluTable Talanoa. We had the awesome Georgie here with us today to take us through a few events and a few questions. Wā ia Rotuma Language Week, where we celebrate and acknowledge our community, our Rotuman community. So that was awesome. If you're wondering, oh my gosh, what's going to happen tomorrow? Guess what? We have two special guests tomorrow. The owner of Muse, it's the company name, and it is, if you're Cinderella and you only got that one shoe fit, the owner of Muse will be able to help you tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow, and if you are a typical islander with the 14 plus size, tune in tomorrow. This is for you. We talk to the owner and talk about their story, their triumphs, their challenges, their sad stuff, and share their story with our viewers. Thank you once again to all of our sponsors, the Pacific Business Hub, It's All Celebrations, and of course, Blue TV, the team, Martin, Rosary, you name it, they've been awesome. And of course, Producer Lemo. Where would we be without Producer Lemo? Have a wonderful, blessed Tuesday, and we'll see you all tomorrow. God bless everyone.
What is it cause your love withdraws? Is it because you lost your love? Baby, dark room. Oh, way up high up in the sky. endless schemes, but they don't realize that love will sometimes bring down. Way up high up in the sky. Tell me why you've lost your splendor. What is the cause your love